You are now listening to the program Straight Talk with the United Independent Movement on Joy Radio, presented by Professor Aurbrey and the Secretary General Jacques Taljaard of the UIM, where we hold nothing back when talking straight about the current situation in South Africa. Ek gaan nou luister na die program Straight Talk met die United Independent Movement, hier op Joy Radio, wat aangebied word deur Professor Aurbrey en die Sekretaris-Generaal van die UIM, Jacques Taljaard, waar ons niks terughou nie wanneer ons reguit praat oor die huidige situasies in Suid-Afrika nie. Almighty Lord and Heavenly Father, another week have gone past, Lord. Another week where you kept us safe in your right hand of protection and grace. Lord, you are our rock and strength, and all the honor and glory to you, Father. As we now today starts on this program, discussing the issues and problems within this beautiful country, South Africa, what you also created, Lord. These discussions, which will be under your guidance. I thank you therefore, Father, through the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
You are tuned in here on Joy Radio, your companion and friend in Jesus. The following program is paid for and proudly brought to you by the United Independent Movement. This program contains political content. The views and opinions expressed in this program and broadcasts are those of the UIM and its representatives, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Joy Radio, its management team, sponsors, the owner or board of directors. This program is paid for by the United Independent Movement, which accepts full responsibility for its content in accordance with the Electoral Act and ICASA regulations. Joy Radio, your companion and friend in Jesus.
Pak saam, hier kom 'n storm aan. Almal trek saam in die Here se naam. Te midde van die stryd, voel jy die heerlikheid. Die Here se Gees het ons kom help. Ja, die konings en priesters regeer by die huis. Die manne kom terug, want God is nou tuis. Mamas en papas staan saam om die kruis. Ons kom met die Bybel, ons bid in die huis. So sing ons saam in Jesus naam. Niks sal ons keer, want ons koning regeer. Van bo op beloftes tot onder in die Kaap. Die manne van die land is aan die brand. Ons is nie meer skaam vir Jesus se naam. Die vyand het gelieg, hy wou ons bedrieg, maar ons glo hom nie meer nie, en niks sal ons keer nie, want Jesus regeer, en sy Gees sal ons leer. Kom buig nou jou knieë, hy ken elke tree, hy het die beste van my en jou gegee. Lig nou jou hande, kom loof nou sy naam. Maak jou besluit man, kom jy ook saam. So sing ons saam in Jesus naam. Niks sal ons keer, want ons koning regeer. Van bo op beloftes tot onder in die Kaap. Die manne van die land is aan die brand. keer want ons koning regeer. Van beloftes tot onder in die kant. Die manne van die land is aan die brand. Die manne van die land is aan die brand.
En ja, dit is donderdag aand, it's Thursday evening, and today is the 11th of September of the year 2025. You are tuned in to Straight Talk with the UIM. Myself, Prof. Aurbrey, and as always, with the Secretary General, Jacques, Taljaard. And tonight we've got two special guests for you, but we will introduce them a little bit later. Let's start off with the WhatsApp number 079-678-0510. We're going to tonight leave about 15 minutes around there open for Q&As at the end of the program. So send in your questions along, or your well wishes, whatever you want to share with us here as the UIM, United Independent Movement. And then the last 15 minutes of the program today, then we will share that with our panel tonight, and hopefully you get then the answers what you are looking for. Ja, geliefdes, vanaand gaan ons dit 'n mengelmoes maak, die mengel Engels-Afrikaans gedeelte, en 'n bietjie meer Engels doen vanaand, want een van ons gaste is meer gemagtig in Engels as in Afrikaans. So ja, en ons almal verstaan mos maar hierdie selfverdedigingstaal, of hoe sal ek nou sê. Jacques, baie welkom vanaand weer eens.
Baie dankie Prof, lekker om hier te wees. Ek wil ook net hallo sê vir ons twee gaste. Ek wil nou nie dit nou verklap wie hulle is nie, maar ons het nou op die banier het ons dit al klaar aangedui. So ek wil net vir ons visiepresident Fatima, wat ook ons raadslid is in Johannesburg, en dan vir Jay, ons raadslid in eThekwini, wil ek net ook welkom sê en hallo sê.
Yes.
Baie dankie en goeienaand aan almal. Dankie Prof, dankie SG.
And yes, and tonight's the first time that Jay is on us, as Jay is with us here on Joy Radio, on this program. Jay, very welcome with us tonight, and this is going to be the first of many to come. Our VP, Fatima, will be able to tell you last week was her first time, and I think she enjoyed it, because I think tonight she's also full of smiles.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Jacques, before we start and we go to our panel this evening, this week, and especially yesterday, quite a bit international incident took place. What happened? And end of last week also in South Africa itself, and it seems like this is becoming a tendency in the world now. Maybe from your side, the UIM's opinion regarding what happened to Charlie Kirk and Bouwer van Niekerk, and what our stance is regarding that.
Yes, Prof. Yeah, unfortunately this week, like many other weeks in the past days, months, years, this week, the news headlines were dominated by, three very distinct incidents that took place, murders that took place, assassinations that took place. So once again, crime and murder is at the forefront of, the news-making headlines, which is very sad, because it tells an unfortunate story of the times that we are living in. If I can just quickly mention the three incidents that we are talking about now, there was an incident in America, and I think it was North Carolina, where a lady was killed on a train. Ukrainian refugee lady that was randomly stabbed by a man on a train, and she unfortunately passed away. That went viral. It dominated the headlines on social media and mainstream media it's been dominating for the last 3 days, I would say, until this incident of yesterday took over, in which a well-known activist, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated in Utah, in America. And Charlie Kirk was a guy that was very outspoken against this thing, this disease that we call woke liberalism, that has unfortunately taken root in society and that has been left to fester, and that has now become a cancer. And he was one of the few brave souls that spoke out against this movement. I don't even know what to call it. And he paid the ultimate price for that. And then in South Africa, well-known liquidation attorney Bouwer van Niekerk was assassinated in his offices in Sandton, in the boardroom, in Johannesburg rather. I'm not sure if it was Sandton. So, and when I heard about Bouwer's assassination, there's something the thing that came to mind was I wanted to find out in which other countries do these kinds of things happen, specifically where legal practitioners and members of the judiciary get assassinated and killed. And the only two examples I could think of was Colombia and Sicily. I know for a fact that in Sicily there were incidents not too long ago where the mafia there in Sicily, that obviously that there was a specific a guy called Toto Rina. He was the head of the Sicilian mafia, and I mean they had a reputation for blowing up judges and killing legal practitioners, lawyers and advocates. And then obviously this is something that also happened in Colombia with Pablo Escobar and the Sinaloa cartel. They used to also make the news for killing judges and blowing up judges and killing attorneys and lawyers. So, yeah, South Africa has now also become a part of that very unique club, if you want to call it that. I think people will still remember, I think it was last year or the year before, when those two other liquidators were killed on the N1 here between Johannesburg and Pretoria, Kluta Murray and his son. And this is now the third incident. Not the third incident, there's other incidents that have also happened in the last couple of years, but off the top of my head, those are the ones that come to mind. Obviously now Bouwer van Niekerk's assassination as well. So it's a shock. It's shocking. We are surrounded by evil, unfortunately, and evil persists because good people, good men are good. What is the saying? Good men do nothing, and that's the reason why evil exists. I think we need to take a long, hard look at ourselves and this world and our country and our families, our lives, our laws, because things are not the way they're supposed to be. And if we don't do something about it, it's going to get worse. I think this incident in America with Charlie Kirk's assassination is going to set certain things in motion. So I'm going to watch this news and follow this story with great interest, because I think we are about to see fireworks, and we are about to see drastic measures being taken or things happening in the next couple of weeks, not only in America but all across the world. It's sickening. I saw the videos, I watched the news reports. Unfortunately, they posted footage of that assassination of both the lady that was killed on the train and Charlie Kirk's assassination. They posted the graphic footage of those killings, and it's hard to imagine that human beings can do this to one another. And we have to stand strong. We cannot, falter now. We cannot stop fighting now. We cannot let these things intimidate us, because that is exactly what they want to do. These evil people that commit these crimes, they want to shut us up. They want to silence us. They want to scare us. They want to intimidate us, and we must not allow that to happen at all costs.
Absolutely.
It's a sad day. It's been a sad week.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly just touch on that.
Yeah, when we had that prosecutor a week or so back as well, 2 weeks ago, what was shot and killed in front of a family, and brings me back to that controversy about Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi with that one 121 dockets of political killings. I mean, this is nothing strange in South Africa currently. It's just that it just doesn't make international news like Charlie Kirk. But it's happening on our doorsteps. And it's not something that it's far and wide between. It's basically a daily occurrence. I actually saw this morning, I read an article in the newspaper that in the Cape Flats areas, that for the last 3 months, 300 people that were killed through gang violence. So it gives you 100 a month. I mean, that is staggering figures, because this is all based to gangs and organized crime, syndicates, because, I mean, I can't see it any other way.
VP, unfortunately, 70 people get murdered in South Africa every day. 70 people. 70 plus people get murdered in South Africa every day. And sometimes it takes incidents like these to wake people up, because we have become desensitized, because, we don't see it on the news anymore. We don't really read about it in the newspapers, because there's not enough space in the newspapers to cover all these stories, and there's not enough time on the local news to cover all these killings that happen every day. So we have become so desensitized. And then something like this that gets blown up so much in the media, this that happened in America, it's a bit of a reality check for all of us. It kind of brings you back to reality and makes you realize what's happening, not only in the world but in South Africa. South Africa is one of the world leaders, if you can call it that, when it comes to murder and violent crime. So, sorry, VP, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the privilege to be on this program, and I would just like to greet the listeners who just joined us now. The number is actually 600 people the past few months that have been killed in the Western Cape. And what is so sad is there's one MP from another party. She has been literally begging the current person in the seat of the presidency to please declare the Western Cape, the Cape Flats, as a state of emergency.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, dit val net op dowe ore, because there's a lot of reasons why he's not going into those so drastic. Here in Johannesburg, for instance, we have a scenario where people are now burning tires, they are rioting, they are so frustrated because they don't have water, which is a human right and a constitutional right in South Africa to have water.
Mm-hmm.
But for days, people have not been having water, and yet the police vans come out with all these huge vehicles and weapons and so on to shoot at civilians who are rioting for water. So there's an imbalance here. What is right is wrong, and what is wrong is right. And I've also been following the Charlie Kirk incident, and I'm one of those people. I speak my mind on my platforms, and I get a lot of backlash. I do it deliberately because I want to. It's my page, and then I get backlash from the leftists who feel, how dare I support this person? He was a racist, and he was a bigot, etc., etc., etc. My question is, so why didn't you say anything when he was still alive, and take him on for what you believe he was? Why wait until he passes away and I post something on my page, and then you want to come and attack me? So we're living in a world where people are so you get the leftists and the rightists, the liberals and the conservatives. And I actually realized today that I'm actually a conservative. For me, right is right and wrong is wrong. There are only two genders, and that's one of the things that Charlie stood for. And I suppose that is why he was also killed. And I see President Trump says that he calls for the death penalty for this guy, because the state where he shot and killed that lady is in Utah, which is a state that the death penalty is relevant, then I sometimes wonder if the death penalty was still relevant here in South Africa, or if we had more stricter rules and laws, would this country have been a better country or not? But under the current government, the death penalty is fatal, because innocent people will be killed, as it is right now.
That is so true. Just quickly, Alita came in. She said, "Good evening, everyone. Thank you for Joy Radio for a fantastic show." Thank you, Alita. And I see here's one from Chris Erodis as well. He says, "Good evening, SG Prof and UIM family." And I see Kurt said to us, "The government has no plan to really fight this gang violence. It is obvious." And he said hello to Fatima and Jay. He said he's looking forward to the show, to hear what you guys got to say tonight. Thank you, Kurt. Just stay tuned in and you're going to hear some more. Yeah, Fatima, what you said is so true. You know, the death penalty, I know they say it's human rights to it's right to live. But that's why crime is so high in this country. Because people know, the criminal know, he can kill somebody, he's going to get life, what means 25 years. Maybe after 10 to 15 years when he's back out on the street again. So if he's young enough, he's still got a life to live afterwards and carry on with the crime. But that brings me to the elections. And I mean, we have discussed it on the previous programs, the previous weeks, regarding the UIM in the 2021 and the 2024 national elections. Now, we are aware, Jacques, that in 2021 municipal elections, the UIM obtained 3 municipal council seats, what are still, well, those councillors are still in place, and we got 2 of them tonight here, and I'm so happy for that. But maybe you can just tell us a bit more, because we know the other councillor is no longer with us, and that is our departed President, Neil de Beer, who will be laid to rest this Sunday, the 14th of September. So, Jacques, maybe you can just bring us in here and give us the picture regarding the council seats and so forth, and then I want to put the councillors on, shall we say, on the hot seat.
Thank you, Prof. Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to. I'm also looking forward to having Jay and our Vice President on and to hear what they have to say. So I'm not going to waste too much time. We got our 3 seats in 2021. Those were all PR seats, or proportional representation seats, which means those seats were acquired through votes that went directly to the party, and not necessarily a ward candidate. This time around, obviously, heading towards 2026, we are going to have a lot of people that are going to contest the elections, and we've got some very capable and competent candidates in different wards in South Africa that will be contesting. But as always, there will be votes available for the party as well, so I'm sure we will get a few PR seats again in 2026. But nonetheless, we got our seat in Johannesburg and in eThekwini and in Cape Town. Unfortunately, as everybody knows by now, our president, who was also our councillor in Cape Town, passed away a week ago. We have already identified a suitable replacement for him in council. I think suitable is probably a bit of an overstatement. I think, he's irreplaceable. But we have found a competent replacement for him, and we've got all the confidence in the world that he's going to do very well. And he's going to represent the UIM in a way that would have made our President Neil proud, and that will surely make us proud as well. So we are ready to put those, things in motion and to facilitate that process. But we've obviously, like I said, we've got a funeral to attend on Sunday. We've got to pay our respects on Sunday first, and then we will, deal with the City of Cape Town Council issue. But yes, we've got our councillors here tonight. One from City of Johannesburg, our VP, Fatima Abdul, she's our councillor there in Johannesburg. And then Mr. Jay Singh, he's our councillor in eThekwini. So, I would like to just give them the floor, Prof, if you don't mind, and let them introduce themselves, and then you can ask the questions, and then they can tell us a bit more about, the UIM in council in the last 4 years.
Jacques, yeah, before we do that, I think we just need to clarify something for the listeners. PR councillors versus elected ward councillors. There is no by-election now to fill that position in Cape Town. It is up to the party to nominate and to submit somebody to fill that position. There's no need for a by-election.
100% correct.
Okay, so that before, because I know there's people who's going to have us questions, how does it work now? But yeah, let's go to our guest this evening. And if I may, Jay, I want to start with you. Welcome once again. And please tell us a bit about yourself, Jay, if you don't mind, so that our listeners can know who Jay Singh really is.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the listeners, and thanks for everybody listening. Firstly, I'd like to take the opportunity, to remiss our loss of our president. And, Neil de Beer, he was a courageous fighter both in politics and in life. I want to honor his memory by reaffirming my commitment and our commitment to the work that we started together, serving the residents of eThekwini and the country with dedication and integrity. So I am Councillor Jay Singh, elected since 2021. As a party, we as you know, just before the elections, I think it was just about a few months before.
Seems we lost Jay there.
All right.
There he's back.
Okay, I'm not sure which part I stopped, but anyway, I was saying that, in the few months prior to the elections, we just registered ourselves as a political party. And the short space of time that we've had, we've done remarkably well in gaining those 3 seats. And that came with a lot of effort, a lot of belief in, firstly, our president and his beliefs and his word. So, yeah, we've done well, and we've still got a long way to go. And I think over the past 4 years, we've represented ourselves very well. And we are continuing to grow. People are continuously having faith in our beliefs. Thanks.
Jay, yeah, don't run away.
No, not really.
There's only one seat there in eThekwini, there in Durban, what the UIM have.
Correct.
What impact, as a one seat councillor there, would you say do the UIM have in that council there?
That's actually a very important question and a good question. The thing is that, being in council for the last 4 years, and firstly, we must understand that most of us that are in council at the moment had no political experience of the past. And we all got into council fresh, not knowing anything about politics. Now, as we move along, we learn a lot as how council operates and how it works. Now, in council, as an example, in eThekwini, we've got ANC that sits with 96 seats. You've got the DA that sits with 54 seats. Now, when it comes to decision making in council, where we have to vote for an item, what happens is you get 5 or 6 people in ANC that makes the decision for the 96 people to vote, and the same with the DA. So the DA has a handful of their people, and they dictate how an item should be voted. Whether the councillor likes it or not, whether it affects his ward or not, he has no choice but to go with the flow of the party. As a smaller party, we have more voice. We can say it like it is without any, as a single unit, as a single councillor, you can say it like it is without any hesitation, and we get our point across much easier and quicker without any interruption.
So can I, if I'm correct, if I say that you yourself, like there in eThekwini, there in the council, you are not gagged, you are not binded by what the seniors, let me put it like that way, fellow councillors tell you what to do. You can speak your mind and you can stand up for the voters who voted for the UIM in that region.
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing is that, when you put your hands up to say that you want to be a councillor, and in order for us to be councillors, the people of the province has put us there. It's their votes that put us there. So it's only fair and right for us to fight on their behalf. And yeah, so there are lots of times, that we voted against the grain and against the ANC and some of the passing of the budget, where we rejected the budget. And it gets into sometimes where you get sworn at. There were times that I had ANC guys that came up with fists to me and threatened me and said that they threatened us to how I'm going to go home. But you got to be brave and you got to fight against that and don't let things like that scare you, because if it scares you, then you shouldn't be there. So yeah, we tackle. Personally, if the guys that are following eThekwini, they'll notice that I think every other week there's some item from UIM that's being discussed on the media, social media or independent online. We are always talking about things. We are always fighting against the rate increases and whatever is happening in council.
Yeah, thank you. Jane, tell me, do the UIM have there in the council any leadership roles or so forth?
Leadership roles? Okay, so I sit in a few committees. I sit in the Speakers Committee. I sit in the Water and Sanitation Committee, and obviously in council. Yeah.
Okay, so you are actually part of some of those oversight committees in the council as well. So it doesn't mean because there's only one UIM seat that they are sitting there in one little corner somewhere, hidden away. Actually, there is a voice for the people by the UIM.
Absolutely, yeah. So at the moment, as we know that in not just in eThekwini, but in all of the provinces, there's always we talk about fruitless expenditure. And that is something that we're always fighting for. We're always fighting against. So there's a lot of issues but we get stuck in and we get involved and we speak about it. So we're not scared to speak about any item.
Thank you, Jay. Fatima, can I ask you, I know if you are more, people know you. If you talk about the VP of the UIM, I said, Fatima Abdul, we know who Fatima is. But yeah, just for those who doesn't yet, just introduce yourself again. And then I actually, the same questions what I've asked Jay up to now. You've heard it, and you can just elaborate about that in the Johannesburg setup.
Thank you so much, Prof. There's a lot of things that Councillor Singh mentioned that I nodded my head because it's relevant to myself here in Johannesburg. But as you all know, the city of Joburg is a much more dramatic council. There's a lot of drama happening there. So when I joined the COJ in 2022. It was deurmekaar because it was then they changed mayoral, mayors, executive mayors. Then the speaker changed, so it was like musical chairs. The one day you go to council and then you are on the governing side. The next month you go, then you are on the opposition side. Now let me just explain to the listeners in case they don't know. In council, there's two sides here in Johannesburg, and I think it's all over. There's the governing side, and then there's the opposition side. When I joined, the DA was the governing side, but right now the DA is the opposition side, and the ANC with their 91 seats. It's 90 now. They lost a seat to another party during a by-election. And on the other side, it's the DA with their 70-something seats. Then there's smaller parties. So Action SA was part of the governing side, and then they moved over to the opposition side, etc. So it's musical chairs continuously. Now for me, I thought, man, that the UIM needs to be positioned much stronger than it is, because in our case, that one little voice makes a difference. For us, we are 270 councillors. For anything to pass, we need 136 or 137 votes, which means if if the parties on the one side doesn't vote for that item, then it just doesn't pass. So I was sitting between the DA, Action SA, Freedom Front Plus, and the ACDP. So there was always bickering between the DA and Action SA, and it frustrated me so much. And there was confusion. People thought that I am part of the DA. Then I asked the protocol people, please, I need to sit center, smack center, because I don't want to be aligned to any of the sides. I actually want a separate seat because I am representing the people. Then they placed me between IFP and PA, and then the back was the ANC, in front was the chairpersons, and I said no, because now people think I'm part of the Patriotic Alliance. Please just replace me and put me right at the back. So that's where I'm sitting right now. And then I also aligned with the other minority parties, Good, Cope. Those are all parties that have one seat. But together we form a cluster called the minority cluster. So if we form a caucus in council, so we sometimes also ask for caucus breaks to discuss something. So if you all remember, a few weeks ago, we needed to elect a chief whip. And because the ANC could not decide who they want to field as a chief whip, they had their own little tufts. There's there's a lot of camps. We as a cluster said, no, we will not be part of your drama. We will just not, participate in all of this. That caused for council not to have a chief whip at that moment. We then had to come back. So as a minority party, we can strike a punch in council as long as you are positioned correctly. And as Jay said, we can speak on behalf of our constituency. We don't have to toe the line. The bigger parties have to toe the line. The councillors have to vote according to what the party has decided. And many a times, it costs those parties a lot of votes, etc., because then the constituencies get frustrated and they say, yeah, you sold us out. Sometimes people don't understand. For instance, a few months ago, beginning of the year, the adjustment budget had to be passed. Now, all the municipalities does that. They adjust the budget, etc., etc. And while our president was still alive, I had a discussion with him. I said to him, what do I do? Because this budget that is adjusted is actually good for the people. Why would I not vote for it just because it is from the ANC government? He said, no. If it works for the people, just remember that any decision that you make in council, if it works for the people, go for it. And that is my stance, that's been my stance up until now.
So, what I hear here, what is quite important is it doesn't depend which political party in the council brings something forth or brings something to the table. It's all about what is to the benefit of the people out there.
Correct.
So, if we look at leadership roles, I've heard somewhere sometime that apparently you were considered.
I think, in all the councils, each councillor has to be in portfolio committees. In the city of Joburg, we call it Section 79 committees. And it sounds like the names are a bit different. I sit, for instance, on a very important portfolio, which is the Municipal Public Accounts Committee, MPAC. We get all the reports from all the departments, and that fruitless and wasteful expenditure reports comes to us, and you see exactly how the public funds are being misused, etc., etc. And our biggest frustration on MPAC is there's no consequence management. The officials are being regurgitated. They get suspended and they come back. And so we are addressing those. Tomorrow, for instance, I have to be in a very important meeting where we actually have to address an official that was disrespectful in terms of reporting, etc., etc. So that person needs to be called to order. So that's the one committee that I sit in. And then I sit on the Gender, Youth, and People with Disabilities Committee, which is also a very interesting committee because we speak or we address or oversight anything in the city that has to do with gender. Are there gender equalities in the workplace? Are certain facilities catering for people with disabilities, etc., etc. So we go out on oversight visits as well. A few months ago, we went on the street physically to address mothers that sit on the streets begging with children. Mm-hmm. It's a problem because most of them are foreign nationals. So we had all sorts of departments there, human rights, the immigration, etc., etc. But I must mention this, there's always backlash from certain organizations impeding or stopping the council, for instance, to do certain things. Just an example, we could not really remove those people that's on the street because then there's human rights lawyers telling us, but you are infringing on those people's human rights. They need this, and this. And then our reasoning is, but they are infringing on the human rights of the South Africans because they are being distracting the traffic on the streets. So those are the challenges that we have and frustrations that we experience. But so people think, no, we just sit in council. No, in between there's lots of activities that happens.
Tell me, Fatima, Jay, if with the 2026 municipal elections coming up, do you guys feel that if there are more handset PR councillors or right out elected municipal ward councillors of a UIM in the different municipalities, that it will make an impact and a change in the municipalities within this country?
Can I go first? Yes, it will definitely. However, this is what I have to add. If our representatives are not boots on the ground in the community, the go-to people in the community, and the community knows Fatima or Joseph or Felicia from the UIM, she does 1, 2, 3. So they have to get their names out there, and the community needs to see what they are doing now already. I know the perception is you first have to get elected and then you will show your stuff. No, it has changed. People want to see what you are doing now. Then they get confidence in you to say, okay, now this person I can trust. She has always been there when I query my water and rates account or addressing certain things. And yes, the other thing, we should not lose focus in terms of what the municipal responsibilities are. It is not, we shouldn't move outside of our municipal responsibilities. Staan nie, krag wat af is, children's rights or social development, health, those are the departments that's in the municipality. Our people must be focusing on stuff that is relevant to those departments.
Okay. Jay, got anything to add on that?
Well, the thing is that I think that as a party, and based on our manifesto and our profile of our political party, we attract a good crowd of people, and the people that we have amidst us are strong. So in terms of our future leaders and future councillors and future PR councillors, I believe that we'll have a stronger a future with our people coming across, because now that we have learned and we understand how council works and how it operates, we will be guiding them going forward. So going forward in terms of where we are as a political party, we can only get better than where we are at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see we've got a question, already a question that came in. It's already 7:15. Can you believe it? This one comes from Benjamin Honeyball. He says, "Good evening, Prof. Aurbrey, SG and all members present. My question is, since UIM is not in the same financial league as some of the bigger parties, how does the party currently cope with its financial challenges? And more importantly, what strategies are in place to ensure financial sustainability and competitiveness as we prepare for the 2026 municipal elections?" Now, VP, you and Jay, I think you guys are quite are aware with the challenges that you as councillors face, specifically because the UIM is definitely not, and they do not get any assistance from government like other political parties either. So I don't know if one of you two want to answer this, or if SG want to answer this question. It's up to you guys.
SG?
No, I'll answer it. I see the ball has been passed on to me now, so. Look, it's always been a struggle for us, the financial bit when it comes to politics. You know, we've got so many passionate, working people in the UIM. We've got so many great ideas. We are so inspired. We are so passionate. And sometimes, the only thing that stands between us and getting certain things done are finances and, money to travel. And that's always been a problem. We've relied on the public and our supporters for so long now. For the last couple of years, they've kept us going with their donations and their membership fees. But, if you want to compete at the level that we want to compete at, you need financial assistance, and we are competing at that level because we are rubbing shoulders with those people and those parties, and those are the people that we take on when they don't do their work, or when they don't perform as they should. Those are the people that we take on directly. So I won't say we are in competition with them. Competition, for lack of a better word, it's not really competition, but those are our, let's call it, competitors, and they operate on huge budgets, which we don't have. We've got zero budgets, and I think people need to put this into perspective, and they need to see what the UIM has achieved in the last 4 years. And I think we are very popular. We are a popular party. We had a very popular president. We have popular people still in this UIM, and we're going to introduce a lot of people to the public in months and years to come. And we are going to continue building Neil's legacy. Neil's been involved in a lot of businesses over the last 30 years of his life. He had so many companies and businesses. He's done great things, but I think his biggest legacy that he leaves behind is the UIM. And the type of legacy that he leaves behind is entirely dependent on us that are left, that are still in this party. We are going to determine what kind of a legacy Neil has left behind. And we have got every intention of growing it and becoming national and provincial leaders of this country. And we are working on ideas and plans to acquire funds and to reach out to business people out there, and we are constantly asking them to reach out to us. But we're not going to give up. And I think, we said that die skip is om die draai. I think, at least people just need to know that we are taking action. We are making the effort to get those finances sorted out, because that will truly take the UIM to the next level if we can sort those problems out. So we are hoping, but we are not sitting and doing nothing about it. But we'll get there.
If I can add, So the UIM, the easiest way for me to try and answer the question is that we are like your street smart businessmen, where we don't have the MBA, got out of school, started a small business in your backyard, and kept on probing and probing and probing and growing small in your own small capacity, and grow up to be a big business. That takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of work. And I believe that we are those people that are starting from nothing, finding our own way through, finding our own finances, and making things happen, opposed to a book smart guy who's got his MBA and he can still fail in his business. We are starting with nothing. We are learning as we're going along, and as we go along, we will continue to grow and we'll continue to get the support. As we're going along at the moment, our support is growing more and more, but we need much more than what we're getting at the moment. But if we continue fighting and we continue doing what we're doing, I'm quite certain we'll get there.
Absolutely. I've got a question what I want to put to the panel.
If I can just add to that. The thing is, you know what, if this process has to continue naturally, we will get there. But it might take some time, as Jay rightly said. The only problem is we are a bunch of impatient people. And I think that is one of our great attributes, is the fact that we are impatient.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have time to waste. We don't want to wait too long. We want to get stuck in now, and we want to do things now. So we get frustrated because I know, as Jay said, if this process has to continue the way it's going at the moment, naturally, we will definitely get there. We are just trying to find shortcuts to get there quicker because South Africa needs us at the moment, and we want to make sure that we are ready to act when the time comes, and that we are ready to take up the positions that are going to be up for grabs when the time comes. So I think with us it's a little bit of impatience, but there's nothing wrong with being impatient and setting the bar high. I mean, that's who we are. We are perfectionists in that regard, I would say.
That's so true. And if I can just come in here, I know and I'm aware that a lot of current representatives and potential candidates for the next year elections, that they are behind the scenes currently hard at work in the communities. Even if they are not in council, they are fighting the councils in the areas where they are, taking on the speaker of the house, taking on the mayor, taking on the municipal manager, and so forth. And people should not forget that the UIM are not sitting idle currently. But I've got a question what I want to ask, and for our two councillors who are currently in council, is do you guys think that it's a good thing, or should the public get more involved? Because I know that public can attend certain council meetings so that they understand better how the cock and gears of a council actually work, what they are voting for.
So your question is whether our community should get more involved in council?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Because the thing is that I'll talk for myself. Prior to me getting involved with UIM and council, I was just somebody that will sit back and just whatever I pick up in the newspapers and whatever I watch on TV, and that's all the political information that I had. I had no idea how council worked. I had no idea how the systems work. And I'm so glad that I got involved, and I encourage everybody that I know around me to get involved. And to answer your question, I personally invite people that show interest into council for council meetings. I'm allowed one guest, and most often I take somebody with me to sit in and understand how it works. And it's also those are our potential councillors going forward. So I agree with you that more people should get more involved. There should be more education regarding how council works and how the role of the mayor, role of the speaker, and all your different committee leaders. So yeah.
Thanks for the question. From my side, same thing. I believe that if we could do it, that's the first question that you asked that I couldn't answer because I was a bit out of the room. If we could get 3 people in council a few years ago, not really known, we can definitely do it 5 years later, being known entities, proven ourselves in council, and doing our media campaigning, and also the people on the ground. Definitely, ons behoort net te verdubbel of te vertriple, if I may say so. Then yes, definitely get involved, see how it works, what's happening. I am allowed 3 guests, but because I'm part of the minority cluster, I can sometimes negotiate with another political party, one of the minorities, to say, listen, I've got 6 people that would like to come. Are you getting guests this time? And that person might say no, and then I can bring 6 guests. So it all depends. But I would definitely encourage our people to come, watch, learn, and make some notes, and afterwards you can ask questions.
Okay, then if you do not have anybody on council what you know, let's take for example myself as a member of public. How do I get then to go and sit and listen what we are talking about if I don't get invited?
You come as my guest. That's what I said. I am allowed to bring 3 guests.
Okay, but that is now in Johannesburg. Let's say, for example, I'm situated in Bloemfontein, where we don't know anybody and so forth, and I would like to go and sit and hear what have been discussed. Are there any constitution, anything that makes provision for that?
Absolutely, yeah. So all our council meetings are live broadcast. So they are on Facebook, and it's live. So anyone can just log on and have full view of the council from morning till afternoon. And you can ask, there are questions that people can ask on the Facebook page. I'm not sure how it gets responded to, but yes, anyone can just go on live. And I would recommend that if anybody needs to start wanting to understand how council works, is to start off there. Start off with the Facebook meetings and take it from there.
Okay. Yes, Fatima?
Yes, no, I agree with Jay. There's live streams. We are obligated to do live streams when we are in council so that the public can see. Transparency is key. They must see what is happening in council. If you can't physically be in council, you can watch on a live stream on YouTube.
Okay. I'm glad that point has been cleared, because I don't think a lot of the voters out there, a lot of the public knows that it's obligated to do it live stream. And I think it's some news for some for some of the listeners tonight. And I would then really urge them that they really go and look at their areas and their municipalities, because I think there's a lot of the municipalities but doesn't do it at all.
They probably do, but you know, with the council and the way they operate, they don't advertise it. You know, it's just the council knows that it's live, but I don't think they do enough to advertise it and broadcast it. And obviously they have their own reasons as to why they would do that. So the less people that are watching and getting involved, it works for them. So maybe that's where we need to get involved and try and use like people like you to help us to promote those items for our council meetings.
I think it's a fantastic idea that you got there, Jay, that we can start to see if we can get those stream details and so forth of different councils around the country, and then we can start featuring it here on the program and make it, put it out there so that the public knows that it's not hidden anymore, that it's not a 007 thing or something like that anymore, because that is actually what I think what they are doing. Because otherwise the pressure is going to be much more on them.
Yes.
And I see we got another question here. Joel actually spoken to Barry and them in the meantime, and they said, it's fine, they're enjoying the program, so we can have a little bit extra time again tonight, and we say thank you for that. This one is that asks if the UIM secures stronger financial backing, if the bigger parties then will start to feel the pressure and be a bit more concerned about the growth and the presence of a UIM, especially leading up to 2026. This is quite a tricky one. I personally think that it's not about finances per se. It is more about visibility, and those boots on the ground of a UIM should be more visible and more vocal out there. Then the bigger parties will also start taking notice. We got, to give an example, in Mfuleni, down here in the Val Triangle, we've got a bulldog here. But you asked the previous question, Benjamin, and believe me, we all know who the UIM is through him. Hello.
Sorry, was there a question?
Yeah, have any reply on the financial, if we are financially stronger, the UIM is financially stronger, will that actually make an impact?
No, well, okay, I think to start off with is that one of the things that as a UIM, I don't want to self-praise myself, but I think that we ended up having 3 good representatives in each of our provinces. And I think each one of us have carried ourselves well, and we've been respected by other smaller parties and even the bigger parties. So although we don't have the financial backing, but we've got the respect, and we don't demand it. I think we've earned the respect from fellow councillors, and we are well respected in council. And that comes through automatically through the social media presence that we have, and it's constantly growing. And yeah, so I think that definitely the finances will help, but I think so far we are doing a fantastic job without it.
Thank you for that one, Jay. Then we've got one here from Yonki off. He said, "Hi, Prof and Etchie in UIM family. What makes the UIM stand out from the other parties despite their financial position? Why would one consider supporting the UIM? Regards, Leon." Any takers?
Yeah, I'll answer that, Prof. I think there's 3 things that the UIM has in abundance, and that is heart, that is soul, and common sense. And that seems to be the 3 main things that are lacking in other parties when you look at the decisions that they make and some of the things they do and the things they say. And I think, South Africans' problems, although complicated, do not require complicated solutions. They just require solutions that make sense, that requires a little bit of logic, but it also requires people that have South Africa and its people's best interests at heart. Because if you truly have this country's best interest at heart and the people's best interest at heart, you will make the decisions that will benefit them and not yourself. And this is something that we don't have in South Africa, especially in government and some of the ruling parties. They don't make decisions that benefit the people. Well, mostly they don't. Sometimes it appears that they do, but I can tell you right now, yeah, it's in the majority of cases that doesn't happen. So we are not career politicians. All of us, if you have to ask every single person working for the UIM or that has an official position in the UIM to show you their bucket list of 100 things to do in their lives, being a politician would probably be number 101 or 102. Mm-hmm. In my case, that's exactly what, in my case, what happened. I mean, this was the last thing I ever thought I would end up doing. I am in politics now. I have grown to love it very much. I've grown very fond of what I do and the people that work with me. And obviously, I'm on a mission to help change this country. And well, I think we have, grown. It's beyond changing, I would say. We are now on a mission to save it. So yes, heart, soul, common sense. Those are the things that define the UIM. And we are a bunch of people that are unafraid. We are not intimidated by other politicians and political parties. We are naive because of, I think, our lack of experience and knowledge, which means We don't walk into rooms and stare at celebrity politicians with our mouths hanging open with pens and pieces of paper for signatures. We don't. They don't impress us. We are not in awe of them. We are too naive and we are too inexperienced. We are raw, and I think being raw and being naive is a superpower in this party and the people that represent this party. And I think that is what South Africa needs. We have done what we have been doing now for the last 30 years. We have gone down this route or this path or whatever you want to call it now for the last 30 years, doing things a certain way. That has not worked. It's time to try something else, and it's time to, give other people an opportunity to try and turn things around and get South Africa heading in the right direction.
Thank you, Jacques.
I just want to, I'm sitting here and I'm actually clapping hands and I'm full of smiles because, SG, you nailed it 100%. I think, Neil, wherever he is, he's smiling because it's exactly who we are. And the one extra quality that we as the UIM have, we are consistent. We don't change our views, we don't change our policies, we don't change on speel nie elke keer 'n ander deentjie nie. We stick to what we stuck at from the beginning up until now.
Amen.
I've got a last question before we wrap up. Fatima, Jay, for the listeners listening out there, for those who've been listening tonight and to say, you know what, now I think I need to get up from a couch. I need to stop being a couch potato. I need to stop to be the guy around the braaivleis fire just moaning, complaining and groaning. I want to do something to make this country better, to make a change for my children, for my grandchildren, for their children one day. And I think what I've heard tonight, that probably the UIM is the way to go. Would you guys, or let me put it this way, how would you motivate them to take that last final step? To join, to become even just a free member, or to become a representative, and or to say, I want to be standing for a councillor in 2026.
Okay, firstly, not everybody wants to stand as councillors. Everybody just wants to make a difference, and we all know that this country needs a lot of work, and the only way that this country can change is if everyone makes even a small difference. Your small difference is what advantage you can add to our party, whether it is wanting to be a councillor, whether working on the ground, whether you can just even give us a donation and say, listen, I can't give you my time, but I can give you X amount of money to grow your party. The thing is that, we have grown in politics in the last 30 some odd years, and we've had an opposition party for the last 30 years, and we all know that opposition party has disappointed us. They have not produced what we thought they would. There's time for new blood, and we are the new blood. But we can only do it with support, and the support comes from tiny little things. You don't have to do big things, but if you get a lot of people doing little things, it's going to be a lot. So my advice would be is just do a little and get involved in whichever small way you can. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay. Fatima? Fatima still there?
I muted myself, apologies. What I was saying is exactly what Jay is saying. Get involved. In every community, there are groups, WhatsApp groups, neighborhood watch, water lights groups, whatever. Get involved. Get onto those groups, but don't be that person that is just challenging admin, because those groups have been started by a councillor, either a ward councillor or a PR councillor. How our people must position themselves is become the go-to person, assist whoever is right now currently in a position of a councillor. Be the person that councillor starts saying, listen, if Fatima can just assist me with this thing, then it'll work. Later on, the people that's on the group, they will start gravitating towards you because you come with positive input, you come with solutions, you come with direction. But you have to get involved even if it's in a small way, by becoming part of a group, and then also become active. One of the things that I'm doing here in my community, I just put out bins where people can throw in their plastic and cans, because it's part of recycling. Now people know, okay, and I created that awareness that, guys, if some of these dirt pickers come, don't let them scratch into your bins. Put the things one side. So those are small things. You don't need money for that. It's just practical things where you make a difference in your community. Also, one of the things that I asked our members was, when children leave school, parents be at strategic points so that our children don't get snatched or, bullied, etc., etc. Become part of that solution. So yeah, there's many ways to become more visible and more relevant in your community. And then later on, obviously, people will say, that's the person that we want as a representative for our community.
Thank you, Fatima. I see Erlita said, we're not draadsitters. And she means the UIM, or not draadsitters. I agree. She said, thank you to the UIM councillors for being accountable. Yeah, they are always accountable because they are there for the people. They are there to serve and not to be served in the end of the day. Jacques, I want to go to you, and for us to, before we close off, if representatives, members, maybe you can just tell our listeners, how do they go about if they want to become part and parcel of a UIM family?
Thank you, Prof. Yes. Jay mentioned that every little bit counts, and I totally agree with what he said. And there's, even if you don't want to get actively involved, then at least support those that do. Because just by supporting those that do, you're already making a contribution. I used to say to people, you get a lot of criticism from people, but I can promise you, if you go and look at those people that criticize us most, or do the most criticizing, those are the people that are probably doing the least amount of work to help and change the situation. Those are the people that just sit on their couches and do absolutely nothing, and just act as keyboard warriors all the time. So for those of you out there that don't have the time to get as involved as you would like to get involved, just support those that do, because then you're already making a difference. In the UIM, obviously, we've got appointed representatives. We are appointing people to represent us in all, in wards, towns, municipal areas and regions all across South Africa. We constantly get questions from people asking us whether or not we've got a contact person or a representative in a particular area or town or suburb. And that's why we decided to start reaching out to the public and to ask people to volunteer to be appointed as representatives of the party at local level. So that is what we are currently doing. If people want to represent us in their ward, in their town, in their suburb, in their city, in their township, all they have to do is just to send us a WhatsApp message. We've got a national WhatsApp number or WhatsApp line that's constantly monitored. They can send us an email to info@uimsa.org. We will reach out to them and we will invite them onto a screening and welcoming committee meeting. And then in that meeting, we will basically just get to know them. We'll get to know one another, introduce ourselves to the person, and obviously they will get the opportunity to introduce themselves to us. We will do a slight or a small induction, and then we will place them onto one of our communications groups, and then we will work together from there onwards. So it's very simple. If you want to represent us, if you want to be a candidate for that matter in next year's elections, if you want to be a candidate, you have to be a representative first and foremost. So that is your entry into being a potential candidate for us in the next local government elections, and that is to become a representative first. So just reach out, send us an email, send us a WhatsApp message. We will contact you, and we will take it from there, invite you onto the meeting, welcome you, and bring you up to speed and add you to one of our groups. And from there on out, we will be in constant communication going forward. And that's that, simple as that.
Yeah, and then of course there's the website www.uimsa.org, where you also can go onto, and you can also join from that website to become a member, a paid member or a free member, or you can do your donations there and so forth. And I believe they are busy updating and upgrading that website to something what people haven't seen before. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes regarding the UIM. Jacques, we've got a last question here. It says, hi all, a question for SG. With ex-members of the UIM now wanting to return in masses to the UIM now that President Neil has passed away, how and where will they be placed after being away for months or in some cases years? Actually, it's good to know people want to come back. Probably they went to look for greener pastures somewhere else and found out, but there's a reason why those pastures looks greener, but it doesn't taste greener at all. Jacques, would you mind if you just to comment on this last question that comes from Chris?
Well, Prof, if people left the UIM and they want to come back to the UIM, then obviously I would think that they would not care where they are placed. It would not matter, because if they are coming back for the right reasons, then any place or any position to them would be fine or suitable. It's like if you go and work for a company, or if you go and apply for a job, if you're really passionate about the company that you want to work for, you'll be willing to start working as a janitor and work yourself up in that company, if you are joining that company or applying for the right reasons. If you are just looking for a position or a title or a quick way to the top, then this is not the place for you. We have many people that left the UIM because of personal reasons or because of family, personal, business reasons. And those, we always told those people that the door will always be open for them. And in actual fact, we told those people that their positions would also be, I won't say open for them, because we've undergone a lot of structural changes, but we are willing to accommodate those people and start working with them as if they never left, if I can put it that way. A lot of other people left for different reasons. A lot of other people left for worse reasons, or for bad reasons, or for unfortunate reasons. But this is an all-inclusive party, and this party is open to everybody. Any person that wants to, that aligns with our views and principles and morals, is welcome in this party. Irrespective of who you are and where you come from, you are welcome. Everybody, for those people that have left that want to come back, I think they know they know where the entry point is, or they know what to do to rejoin the party, and then we will take it from there. I think every situation or every person joining will, the merits will be considered, obviously, and we will look at the reasons why they left in the first place, and then we will make decisions accordingly. But I don't want that to be a deterrent for people to join. Everyone is welcome. And we've actually reached out to some of our ex-UIM members or people that used to serve in positions in this party. We have reached out to them from our side to invite them to come back, because I think, when they were part of the UIM, they were doing great work for the party, and they left because of unfortunate reasons. And we have reached out to them, and a lot of them have said that, their situations have changed and they would like to rejoin and come back to the UIM and to contribute. And they are more than welcome.
So yeah, if I can sum it up, if a person have left the UIM in good standing and they feel it's now time to come back and they want to be part again, as you said, that circumstances have changed, you're more than welcome to rejoin the UIM. And if you do not know where you want to be and where you can, or where to fit in, and I would really recommend go to that website of the UIM, go and read the Constitution, and so forth, and make the calls, phone the SG, phone the current representatives who are there, and the councillors, and ask for questions if you got any, and then decide. It's either yes or no, but it's a free choice in this country. At the end of the day, it's your democratic right to decide to which party you want to belong and who you want to join in the end of the day. But Jacques, before we go off, from now on, as we go forward with the program, as we discussed previously, we're going to start off every week with news, with the most dominant news articles of the last week, of the current, what is just breaking, what just broke, like we had now, what happened yesterday in America and so forth. That is what's going to happen. And then we're going to have every week, I think, some guests on, representatives and so forth of in the different regions, different areas, and start to introduce them to our listeners as well, if I'm not mistaken. Jacques, you still there?
Yes, Prof. Yes, are you asking a question?
Yeah, I did ask a question, a long question. I said that for the listeners' sake, from next week, as we discussed earlier, the format that we're going to follow now is similar biz news, but just a little bit different, where we're going to discuss news happenings around the world, and particularly in South Africa, and start introducing the representatives and candidates for the election for next year on this program as well.
Yes, so it's important for us to give our views and opinions on the news, the stories that make headlines in South Africa and all across the world every week. We've got a political opinion on these things that happen and take place. We are also going to provide solutions to some of the issues and problems that face South Africa, so that people know what we have in mind in terms of future governance, so that you have to give people a reason to vote for you at the end of the day. So we're just hoping that the other parties don't steal our plans and our blueprints before we can announce them ourselves on mainstream media. But yes, we want to provide solutions to South Africa's problems. We want to inspire the people. We want to create hope. And we want to expose those that lie to us. We want to hold those accountable that need to be held accountable. And we want to politically see if we can help politically educate the people of South Africa, because I think there's a serious lack of education and political knowledge amongst the citizens of this country. And I think that's why some of them vote the way they do, and why we have been sitting with this mess for the last 30 years. So we are all about ensuring that the next time we get an opportunity to vote, we make use of that opportunity and make the changes necessary, so that we don't have to face another 5 years of what we've been experiencing for the last 30 years. Because you only get the chance every 5 years, so we better make it count, and we better make sure that we do everything in our power to educate those that are going to make those crosses at the end of the day, so that they also make their votes count.
Thank you, Jacques. Listeners, if you got questions, if you got issues, what you want, what you can't get resolved in your areas where you are, remember the studio WhatsApp number here is 079-678-0510. So draw your questions up, send it through on a Thursday evening, then we will start discussing that as well, or we will put you in contact with a representative in that area. And between Jacques, Fatima, and Jay, the councillors that are there, and very soon the new councillor for Cape Town City will also be introduced to each and everyone on all the media platforms, and we will also have that person, him or her, whoever it's going to be. I haven't got an idea. That is still a work in progress, if I can call it that. We will introduce you on Straight Talk with the UIM here on Joy Radio as well. Fatima, Jay, I want to say thank you very much for you guys for joining us tonight. This is not going to be the last time. You guys just make yourself, well, let me put it this way, be sure that you're going to be regular guests on Straight Talk with the UIM on Joy Radio.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We're going to play out with we're going to do it, play out, and till next week, then we will be back with Straight Talk with the UIM, with myself and the Secretary General, Jacques Taljaard. Vader, ons dankie vir u leiding met die gesprekke wat ons vanaand gevoer het op die program. Here, wees saam met iederlik en elkeen gedurende hierdie naweek wat voorlê en die week, totdat ons weer by mekaar kom op hierdie program. Seën elke liewe luisteraar in die naam van Jesus. Amen.